What if every time you took a step, the ground beneath you turned into a living creature? Just imagine you're out for a walk on a sunny afternoon, and with every step you take, the earth beneath you shifts and wriggles, transforming into a sentient being that reacts to your movements. It might sound like something out of a bizarre fantasy novel, but think about how drastically this would change the way we experience the world. It's not just the ground you walk on anymore. It's your partner in this strange, unpredictable dance. A living, breathing landscape that's as alive as you are. Let's dive into how this new reality would completely upend everything we know about daily life, from getting from place to our very relationship with the planet itself. First, let's explore the immediate impact. You're walking to work, maybe through a park or down your street. Each step causes the ground beneath you to react. At first, it might just feel like the earth is a little spongier than usual, like stepping on soft grass. But before you know it, your shoes start sinking into the surface, and the ground shifts like it's alive. The dirt, the grass, the pavement, everything beneath you is suddenly pulsating, like it's breathing in sync with your footsteps. It's not just terrain. It's a living creature, perhaps a giant, ever-changing organism that somehow senses your movements. Maybe it's a little like stepping on the back of a giant, gently shifting jellyfish, except with a mind of its own. You try to take another step, and this time the ground beneath you feels almost joyful. The earth responds like it's happy to be interacted with. Maybe it even adjusts its texture to make walking easier, like shifting to a soft, padded surface just for you. On the other hand, if you walk a little too quickly or stomp a bit too hard, the ground might become defensive, tightening up or pulling back in a subtle warning, almost like a creature pulling away when threatened. You might even start to hear subtle, strange sounds as the earth makes its own noises in response to your movements, like a mixture of rustling, growling, or the sound of soft wind flowing through trees. Imagine walking through a city and hearing the ground hum under your feet as it adjusts, a constant symphony of subtle feedback that you never thought to listen to before. Now, think about the larger consequences of this new reality. For starters, walking would never be the same again. Every step would feel like a negotiation with the world beneath you, a give and take between you and the earth. You might start walking differently, more gently, to avoid upsetting the creatures you're stepping on. Maybe you develop a heightened awareness of where you walk. Suddenly, the idea of a simple stroll becomes a dance with nature. You'd be mindful of the earth's reaction, almost like it has its own personality and moods. Sometimes it might feel cooperative and pleasant, and other times it might feel a bit temperamental, like walking on a giant, grumpy cat that's not quite in the mood for a visitor. Those carefree walks through the park might become a bit more thoughtful. You'd avoid stepping on delicate spots where the ground seems fragile, just as you'd avoid stepping on a creature that could be harmed by your presence. After all, it's not just the ground. It's a living being with its own needs and desires. This would definitely throw a wrench into our daily routines. Imagine running errands. You're on your way to the grocery store, but suddenly the sidewalk begins to shift as you walk over it, creating new challenges. Each step becomes a puzzle. Should you veer to the left to avoid stepping on a sensitive area? Or do you take the long way around, finding a path where the ground seems calmer? If you're in a hurry, it might become a game of trying to move quickly without upsetting the ground creature beneath you. You might even develop an entirely new etiquette for walking, something akin to the way we have unwritten rules about not crowding personal space or being polite in crowded areas. Maybe you'd start giving a soft, respectful hello with your foot before stepping, like tapping a tree to thank it for the shade. How would it feel to know that the earth is alive and responsive? Would you start seeing the world around you not as something static and unchanging, but as an interactive, dynamic environment with its own personality? Then there's the issue of urban infrastructure. Imagine the challenges cities would face as they tried to adapt to this new reality. Roads and sidewalks wouldn't be static, paved surfaces anymore. They'd be living, breathing creatures that could move, adjust, and even potentially refuse to cooperate. Could you even drive a car on a surface that's constantly shifting beneath you? Roads might decide to be smooth one moment, then suddenly ripple with unpredictable terrain the next. Traffic lights might become less important because the ground itself might change its behavior in response to the needs of the traffic. Public transportation would have to adapt too. Buses and trains might now rely on tracks that are no longer stationary, but instead shift in reaction to the environment. A subway ride would feel more like riding on a creature, swaying with the rhythms of the earth beneath you. And then what about nature? What would hiking be like in this world? Imagine trekking through a forest, but instead of walking through static paths, you'd feel the ground shifting as the terrain adjusts to your presence. The forest itself might come alive with you, shifting in ways that make you feel as if the very landscape is guiding you forward. Trees might even respond to your footsteps, swaying or even reaching out in subtle ways to protect you from difficult terrain. On the flip side, rocky paths might become trickier to navigate, with the ground becoming rough and uncooperative if you're not mindful of where you step. Every trail would be an adventure, an unpredictable experience where you're constantly interacting with the living earth around you. But, of course, it's not all sunshine and gentle earth creatures. What if you encountered a particularly grumpy patch of ground, maybe something akin to a territorial animal that doesn't want you on its turf? The ground might fight back, resisting your movements or causing you to stumble as you step on a patch that's more than a little defensive. Or maybe, just maybe, some areas of the world become more dangerous to walk on, volcanic areas where the ground reacts unpredictably, or deserts where the earth is more reluctant to support your weight. You'd have to be cautious about where you're going and how the ground might behave, as some creatures might not take too kindly to your footsteps. In the end, this bizarre new reality would make us rethink everything we've ever known about walking, about the earth, and about our relationship with the planet itself. We'd no longer take the ground beneath us for granted. It would force us to slow down, become more conscious of our actions, and perhaps even begin to see the earth as a living, breathing companion in our journey through life. A companion that might be grumpy at times, playful at others, but always there, reacting to every step we take. So, how would you handle this strange new reality? Would you embrace the challenge, or would you walk a little more carefully from here on out? Let me know what you think in the comments, because in a world like this, every step would be an adventure.